What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. The Baylor women's basketball team begins its 2024 Phillips 66 Big 12 championship today. Madison Bartley stops by to talk about the upcoming tournament in Kansas City. Men's basketball concludes its regular season tomorrow at Texas Tech, and we'll preview that matchup, plus discuss a big-time top 15 softball series at home in Waco for the Bears. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on our Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod, and follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app today for your phone and sign up for your free 7-day trial at BaylorPlus.com. It's Friday, March 8th, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside good friend and the Baylor Bear insider, Jerry Hill. Jerry, tournament time, man. It's an exciting time right now.
It's March Madness, right? We've started already. Yeah, Justin, I mean, I know it's your favorite time of the year. It's certainly one of my favorite times of the year. You got so much going on, but, this is kind of where the fun really begins in basketball. With these conference tournaments, and then right around the corner is NCAA tournament. That's what's crazy is I think back to, it doesn't seem that long ago that we tipped off the season in November, and here we are in March and ready to go. Excited for this weekend, excited for the men to finish out the regular season against Tech. So yeah, it'll be another fun weekend, Justin.
Yesterday, I had a chance to catch up with senior forward Madison Bartley in Kansas City. Madison, this is your first year at Baylor. Tell us, kind of what the first year was like for you. Was it what you kind of thought it would be?
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. The people here are so welcoming, and just getting new to a new system. It's been very welcoming, but also they push you here. So it's been great to be pushed as a player and just to become better. But I've loved it here at Baylor, and I can't wait to have an extra year.
For you, obviously, enjoyed seeing you play up until about mid-January. Then you were out for a little bit there, and then you came back. So out for 6 weeks. You're from Kettering, Ohio. Your first game back was in your home state. How important was that to play against Cincinnati a few weeks ago?
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. After my back injury, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play in Cincy, so that was a little bit of a downer for me. But then once, I just wanted to put in the work in and see if we could get there. And we eventually did. It was very nerve-wracking to go out on the court, but once I got out there, it just felt like I was back in my normal flow. So it was just really nice to be able to get back and play in front of my family and my city.
In terms of health right now, you're back, feeling good, everything good there?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're just keeping it stretched and doing all the therapy and stuff so that I'm able to play.
When you think about Baylor and obviously the program it's been for many, many years, playing in the Power 6 level hoops in the Big 12 Conference, how much an adjustment has that been in terms of just play competition coming over from Belmont?
Yeah, I think everyone competes. Everyone loves the sport of basketball, so everyone's going to compete. So I don't think that's a difference, but I think individually as players in the conference, I think that is such a big difference. The Big 12 has so many different people who are so good that you have to play every single night. So just being prepared for all the players on different teams. And then also our practices, like everyone's come in and everyone's fighting to, get to the Final Four. So we're all pushing each other extremely hard in practice. And I think that's a little bit of a difference when you get to a bigger level, so there's a little bit more to fight for sometimes.
Your team's getting ready to compete in the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. You're in Kansas City right now. What's the energy like around the team?
Yeah, I think we're so excited to be here, have the opportunity to get to the championship. We are all very excited. We're going to see who we play tonight. And from there, it'll be fast. It'll be fast all the way to the championship. So we are these last few couple of days, our practices have been really hard, but it's been really good for us to get in those practices before we have short time to recover and get ready for each game. So it's been very great. Everyone's energy is high and excited. So
Now, coaches always give you keys to success, not trying to, give anything away for our opponents, but what are some things that you guys will have to do to be successful there in Kansas City?
Yeah, our first thing is defense. That's been a big thing for us. We need to make sure our defense is on spot. We need to have good help side. We need to be locked in on all aspects of our defense, because usually our defense helps run our offense. Once we get defensive stops, we get better offensive scores, we get steals. When we can do all of that, we are great.
This first game's at 11 a.m. I don't know about you. I'm not a morning person. Obviously, our last game was 11 a.m. and it worked out pretty good. Thoughts
Yeah.
about playing at 11 a.m.? These first couple could be there in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of AAU season. Always had morning games. But I think either way, we have to show up, no matter if it's 11 a.m. or 9 p.m. We have to show up the same way, and we got to be ready to beat whoever we're playing. So I'm a morning person, so I don't really, I don't care. I was up at 7:30 this morning. We didn't have to be ready until 9. But either way, I think we just need to show up and be ready.
In honor of BG, get you some of that soft bacon. I could do soft bacon, but just for her, maybe. Things
Yes.
been good since she came. Baylor's been winning all the games. So,
Yeah.
how about the T-Mobile Center? Obviously, you've had a practice in there. What's that place like? And for the women to get to play in there, that's pretty special.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for us. I think it gets us a little bit more people to watch us as well. T-Mobile was huge. I've never been in there myself, so that was a great experience to, get in there and see what it was like. But I just think we're blessed to have this opportunity to be able to play in such an amazing place and then have such an amazing crowd come as well.
Now, it's this time of the year is always fun, right? You're a
Yeah.
player. It's fun to be in it. I can't imagine some of the things you're going through, but as a fan, it's always really fun. And of course, as a fan, we can kind of look past this first game and start to fantasize like, oh, who we could play and things like that. How
Yeah.
do you stay focused in the moment and focused on what's in front of you without getting too far down the road?
Yeah, I think we all have the same goal. We all want to get to the championship, but we always have to stay focused on what's ahead. So we always are like, yes, we want to get here, but we need to look at what's ahead in front of us before we can go to the next step. So we're always step by step. What's in front of us? What's the first thing we need to accomplish? The first thing we need to accomplish is winning this first game tomorrow, and then we can get closer to the championship. And then once we get to the championship, we can be excited and hoorah, we're going to win this. But we need to win this first game. We need to focus on the first game. So just being able to keep our heads locked in on what's in front of us at first.
All right, we'll get you out with this one. The team seems to be playing its best basketball of the season, kind of like the Utah, Texas games back
Yeah.
in 2023. What's been clicking lately, and do you think the team is peaking right now?
Yeah, I think we are just at the start of our peak. That's where we need to be, especially at the end of the season here, going into the Big 12 championships and then also NCAA. We need to be at the start of our peak so that when we are getting up to the NCAA, we are getting to the top of our peak and we're at Final Four. So that is what we are looking for. I think just in general, just being able to bring it all together and just clicking in practice has helped us, and just working hard.
All right, Madison, thanks for your time and best of luck there in Kansas City.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course, the tournament began last night, and the first game, Texas Tech defeating Houston 74-60, which means Texas Tech is now our opponent today, the Lady Raiders. And of course, hey, last time out for Baylor taking on Texas Tech, this happened Sunday, February 18th, 61-32. Brittany Griner was in town, and things have been pretty good, Jerry, since that game for the Baylor Bears. 5-0 since that stretch, the longest winning streak right now in the Big 12. So let's keep that mojo going. But that contest, man, Baylor dominated Texas Tech last time out there.
Well, arguably one of the best defensive players in women's college basketball history, if not the best. And so maybe they were trying to show off for her a little bit. I don't know. But great performance, and they have not lost. That started a 5-game winning streak, and they've really been on a roll, Justin. I think they're, as good as they played in that 14-0 start, I think they're actually playing their best basketball right now going into the Big 12 tournament.
And Texas Tech in that win over Houston, Jasmine Shavers had a game high 29 points. So keep an eye on her. later on today. Also, Jessica Merritt, 15 points, didn't play in the first matchup against Baylor, but 74-60. Texas Tech, they snapped a 9-game losing streak. So teams were kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum here entering the Big 12 championship. Baylor winners of their last 5, Texas Tech losers of the last 9. Now meet up here, 11 a.m. game, early matchup. The last time out for Baylor, though, they did play at 11 a.m., so hopefully they can keep that going too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it matters right now what time they play. I like the schedule. They're actually going to be, if they continue on this path, they would be 11 o'clock on Saturday as well. And then 1:30 for the Monday semifinal, late game, championship game at 8, I believe. So, yeah, a lot of early games early. And I'm not sure that that's a negative thing. Like you said, they played 11 o'clock in their last game against Oklahoma State and played really well that day. They did get off to a slow start, and they have a little bit in some of these games, but that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to start out slow and dig a hole, but they're clearly a better team than Texas Tech. It's one of those where anybody can beat anybody. It's the cliche, but I'm not sure that Tech can beat Baylor.
Texas Tech 17-15 on the season, 5-13 in conference play. Baylor 23-6 on the year, 12-6 in conference play. So Texas Tech, definitely one of those teams that probably looking at a WNIT, and if they want to make the NCAA tournament, they got to make a run here, as do several other teams entering the Big 12 championship. Jerry, most think it'll be 7 teams that make it in the NCAA tournament. Kansas made a run there late. Kansas, West Virginia, Baylor, Iowa State, Texas, K-State, and Oklahoma. Those are the 7 teams that Charlie Cream right now has on ESPN.com. But this is shaping up, if you get past today's games, of course, that West Virginia game, there's just a lot of games today. I think Oklahoma State, TCU, that's a good one today. But getting past today and moving into tomorrow's games, the quarterfinals, those matchups, if it goes by chalk, there's some great matchups tomorrow at the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, and that's, I think that was the one where, Iowa State I think they beat Kansas State to be the higher seeded team here. You would have liked to get that, kind of double bye and have a couple of days off at the Big 12 tournament. But that was the difference, was Iowa State beating Kansas State late. And Baylor wound up in a tie for 4th, but Iowa State got that 4th seed. Justin, I'm not, I don't know how coaches view this, but I don't know that it's necessarily a negative that you're playing that first game, getting a game under your belt. I think there's some advantage in that. And the fact that, they do have that game in between the quarterfinals and the semifinals, I think it takes a little bit of that, it's hard to win 4 in 4 days. Well, now you don't have to. Now you just, if you can win if you can win today, you win tomorrow, then you have a day off. So I think that's huge. And I do think it could help Baylor that they get this game under their belt before they play Iowa State.
Yeah, you'd hope in this game, hey, take care of Tech early and often here and get the reserves in. So keep the minutes down, maybe keep everybody down 25 minutes, below 25 or less. And then, get to the quarterfinals on Saturday. As you said, Jerry, no games on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. That's the semis, and then the championship game coming up. And man, you think about what Saturday could look like. It could be Iowa State versus Baylor, could be Oklahoma State, could be a Texas, Kansas State, West Virginia. This conference really impressed, top to bottom. All the teams in the conference right now, all 14 in the top 100 in the net. There is a bit of a bottom, I would say, this year, even though the top 100 compared to the men's side, I think some of the men's teams at the bottom could beat some of the top teams. We saw that with the likes of UCF and West Virginia and things like that. But overall, this conference super healthy, and I know on the broadcast last night, Commissioner Yormark said that he was looking forward to realignment in some of the new teams, of course, the 4 corner schools coming in, which will really elevate women's basketball moving forward next year.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about Arizona State, Colorado has been really good this year, and then Utah, those are 4 really good teams that you're coming in. And back to your deal about, kind of the parity in the league, or, teams that could really make some noise. Justin, I did see one thing that I believe it was NCAA.com had TCU as one of those teams that could make a deep run in a tournament. They're sitting there as the 8th or 9th seed, but they're getting everybody back. They've got Sedona Prince back. They've got some other player, Madison Connor. She's back. So this is a team that, might be getting all of its pieces back at the right time. And you think about if they can get past Oklahoma State, then they're matched up against number 1 seed Oklahoma, which really doesn't have a ton to play for. So I just wonder if TCU really could make a run, because I do think, again, I think this is the not easier bracket, but I think it's the better bracket that you wanted to be in. So that could be interesting if TCU gets past Oklahoma State and then gets Oklahoma in the quarterfinals.
Well, there you go. Jerry Hill giving you a sleeper pick right there. And I will say Oklahoma probably playing for hosting, as is Baylor. And we've talked about that to death, about hosting and what that could do. And I think Baylor, probably, hey, you get 2 wins here. You're sitting at 25 wins. You get that win over Iowa State and Texas Tech. That should be good positioning. But to really match it up and ensure that you have it, win that next game, get to 26 games. And then if you win the whole thing, you're definitely hosting. So we know how big that is and things of that nature. But a few other tournament notes, Jerry. Baylor is looking for its 12th Phillips 66 championship. Baylor is looking for its 12th Phillips 66 Big 12 championship. Baylor is looking also for its first Big 12 championship since 2021. A 5 seed has never won a Big 12 championship on the women's side. The 5 seed has finished runner-up 2 times in 97 and 2007. And 6-seeded West Virginia, they won in 2017 as the lowest seed. It can be done, and history is needing to be rewritten. So let's make a 5 seed go all the way and win this thing.
And again, I think one of the things that gives you at least a shot at that is that extra day off. I think with that built in, if you can get past those first couple of games and get to the semifinals, then everybody kind of starts fresh. So now you're down to 4 teams. And, I think if Baylor is still alive on Monday, whether it's Oklahoma, TCU, Oklahoma State, whoever it is, I think they're going to be fresh. And hopefully, like you said, preserve some minutes there. Don't have to overwork your starters and have, some fresh legs for that Monday semifinal. And yeah, I think, hey, why not now? Why not a number 5 seed? Let's go and let's see if that can happen this year with the 5th seeded Baylor Bears.
As for Baylor men's basketball, a week behind the women really with some of these games. And so the final regular season game this season is on the road at Texas Tech. Always a hostile environment, 5 o'clock on ESPN2. This should be a fun one. This is Coach Drew against Grant McCaslin, one of his former assistants. And, of course, Grant McCaslin, a former Baylor Bear, graduated in the mid to late 90s here. Always fun. I know Coach Drew doesn't enjoy these games, though, going up against his really family. But he has to do it one more time here.
Yeah, and I'm glad he finally got a win. Jerome kind of swept him that first year. And like you said, Scott would never schedule any of those assistants, because he's had guys out there for, I guess, close to 15 years now, but he just absolutely will not schedule former assistants. He never wanted to play his brother in like a game that counted. And I think he kind of sees these guys as brothers, so he doesn't want to play them. But this will be an interesting, final regular season game, obviously on the road in Lubbock. Baylor has played well on the road, beat Tech in the Foster Pavilion earlier. But I know Tech was kind of a little thin in that game. They had some players out, so be interesting to see how they'll be. And I think there's a question mark on their side too. I believe it's Warren Washington that may or may not play, and obviously Langston Love, if he could play, that would be a huge addition. Going into the conference tournament, if you can get Langston back and playing in this last regular season game.
Yeah, and Texas Tech, that's not an easy place to win at on the road. A lot of liquid courage going on there inside Lubbock. It's a United Supermarkets arena. That's a loud place. I mean, I know during COVID, it was like 25% capacity. And I'm pretty sure me and you were at that game, Jerry, and it felt like 75, 80% capacity. But That's a place that gets loud. And once again, what you got to do is take the crowd out of it. Of course, the women right now are peaking, and you can make a case the men are doing the same, right? Playing some of its best basketball right now. And you know what? Well, you could say, what's at stake in this game? Well, Baylor right now trying to secure the 3 seed. Baylor will either be the 3 or the 4 seed. The only way they drop to the 4 is if they lose to Tech and Kansas defeats Houston. So 3 seed, they play in the Big 12 championship on Thursday at 8:30. The 4 seed, they play at 11 a.m. on Thursday. But I think right now, obviously, you want to get the 3 seed, Jerry. And you know that winning this game is just another quad 1 win, and it helps your seeding again in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and you're on a, like you said, you're on a good stretch here where you've had some really nice wins, kind of pieced them together. So I think they definitely want to, win this one Saturday. And again, it helps not only your Big 12 seeding, it kind of locks down that 3 seed for the Big 12 tournament. But I think it helps you too for the NCAA tournament. You're still fighting, you're still climbing, you're trying to get up there as high as you can. I think most prognostications have us as a 3 seed right now. Why not try to work your way up to the 2 line? So, and I think if they made a good run in the conference tournament, they could get there. I think they still have some work to do that, but certainly it would solidify your 3 line or 3 seed. But maybe work your way up to a 2 seed, and the higher you can get for the NCAA tournament, the better it is.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day, and they had said, actually Matthew Kirchner from our creative team, he said that the 3 seed to the 2 seed in terms of winning a national championship, your chances increase 10% by just moving up that line. So I'll take that. And here's another thing. We've been the 3 seed, I believe, 5 times in the NCAA tournament. We have never on the men's side been a 2 seed. So let's do that, right? Let's get the 2 seed. And I think in this game against Texas Tech, if we can win this one, I would say that secures at least the 3 seed for the tournament. And then you make some, do some good work at the Big 12 championship, and you can move up to a 2 seed. So we'll see how it all shakes out, Jerry. But certainly fun. Both teams right now in March. It's March Madness time.
I love it. Love it. Would love to see some nets cut down in the next week or so. That would be a lot of fun. Looking for a Big 12 championship. This would obviously be on the tournament side, but you'd love to do that twice in Kansas City. Double the pleasure, and let's win them both. Why not?
And Jerry, obviously, this is a little different too. This year, T-Mobile Center for the women, playing at the same arena as the men. They moved up the games. Your thoughts on this? It's a little different. We're not used to this. Where do you stand here?
And I know you're in favor of this format. I'm definitely in favor of the women moving to T-Mobile. I covered a lot of games over there at Municipal, and there's a lot of history in it, a lot of tradition over there. But, it was definitely never on equal footing, and you just can't do that in today's day and age. I mean, when you think about the NCAA tournament, I guess it was when they were in the bubble in San Antonio, a lot of noise about how, the difference in just equipment and everything, benefits or whatever for men versus women. And I think this was a good move by the league to move the women back or women over to T-Mobile Center, because now they really are. They're on equal footing. They're in that high profile facility. And I think they deserve that. I think the women's basketball game right now is really good. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Obviously, the league is really good, but, you've got Caitlin Clark out there. You've got a lot of things going in women's basketball that are good. So I think they deserve this, high profile. I'm one of those that I kind of like it when they're both playing at the same time. It does make it hard, though, because there's times because I can remember, I guess it was when it was at Oklahoma City, and the arenas were right there together. But I remember there was one where I think the women were playing first, and and the men started when the women were in like the first half or something. So it does make it hard in some of those situations. I just liked when everybody was there in the same area together. I like the together thing, Justin. I like when you and I are together. I like when the men and women are at the same site. I like them during that same week. But I think this will be a great format. I think it'll work, and this will be a great, week to 2 weeks of Big 12 basketball.
Were you being sentimental right there? I thought you were about to cry.
I really did start to get emotional. I felt it coming. I held it back. I choked it back. I didn't want to show that emotion, on the podcast. But yeah, I was getting, and maybe not so much between you and I, but just emotional about Big 12 basketball. That's what I was getting emotional about.
If I see you dancing again, maybe that would, bring some emotion for me. When are we going to get another dance, Jerry? It's been a long time since you danced. If we win and cut down some nets, maybe some dancing? See if you've created some new moves.
Yeah, I do need some new moves. So I may spend, the next few days working on moves in case or when the women win theirs on Tuesday night. I'm ready to dance.
Yeah, you may need a new dance instructor. I do think, Jerry, I think a lot of people want to see you dance because when you're dancing, it's good for Baylor athletics.
Yeah, and I think now that you say that, I think maybe I could get some help from Fee Mulkey. I mean, I know it's a little bit different choreography, but I think she could maybe help me on some moves for the dance floor as well.
Well, yeah, I don't know where you're going to go with that. All right, let's transition over to Baylor softball. Big weekend series here. It starts tonight. Top 15, number 7 Oklahoma State against number 14 Baylor, as Baylor begins its Big 12 opener in terms of conference opener this weekend. Big series here, Jerry.
Yeah, and obviously playing, like you said, a top 10 in different polls. They're 4th or 7th. I think in the one that we kind of go with, they're number 7. Oklahoma State is really good, but if anybody can be ready for this kind of start to conference play, I think it's Baylor, because they, Justin, I think I counted 8 of their first 11 games were against ranked teams, so they're ready for that. They've seen it. They saw Tennessee when they were number 2, and they beat, I believe it was 3 ranked teams out in California. They beat Louisiana twice. And, oh, by the way, Louisiana is the only team that's beaten Oklahoma since we beat them last year. So those were good RPI wins. Those are going to pay dividends down the road. But you'd love to get off to a good start against a very good Oklahoma State team that, they've got the pitching, they've got the hitting. This will be a tough opener, but at least you're at home. I think that'll help, being here at Getterman Stadium and really having a chance to, you'd love to win the series. You'd love to win a couple of games and kind of get off to a great start in conference play.
Yeah, I count 5 ranked wins already for Baylor softball. That's very impressive. Had a nice win over Penn State earlier in the week, 4-1. And right now, Baylor softball, Jerry, they're quietly on a 12-game winning streak.
Yeah, and I looked that up, Justin. It happens that Oklahoma State is also on a 12-game winning streak. Those are both they're tied for the best winning streaks in the league. So they're facing each other in the conference opening series, and they both have the longest winning streak in the league. Yeah, Baylor, it is fairly quiet. I mean, they had the great. I think it's because they hosted Morgan State, and Morgan State not a high-profile team, but they're a team that's very capable of making the NCAA tournament, and they swept them. But yeah, the win against Penn State, I think that has to catch your attention. They were 15-2 coming in here, and you beat them 4-1. So there's a lot of good wins in that 12-game winning streak.
The only losses on the season for Baylor, the 2 games against Tennessee at the start of the season. We know that home opener in that first game, Baylor had that one, let it slip away, but that's going to happen in a few games, especially when you play 50-something games a year. And then Louisiana, 1 loss there. But overall in the season, 13-3, been off to a great start, and really looking forward to what's to come this weekend. Is it too early to talk about, and I will say too, it's quietly because of just basketball and what's going on, right? It's similar to during football season. A lot of games on the basketball side in November and December get lost, and a lot of the work is kind of in the dark and kind of quiet there. I would say the same for softball and baseball in the months of February and March. And once you get to April and May, the light is shine pretty bright on those programs. So, but this is a weekend, though. You win 2 out of 3, it's not going to be so quiet anymore.
No, and I think, you do that and you move up, you probably move up into the top 10 because you're beating a team that, like I said, some polls they're top 5. They're at worst, they're 7th. So yeah, I mean, you're beating a quality top 10 team, even if it's, 2 of 3, I think that would be huge. And that probably would move you up into the top 10. And that would be great for this team. I mean, when you consider some of the adversity they've faced, Dari Orm hasn't been available as much as Glenmore had wanted, but man, they just keep playing through it. Kind of like baseball, they keep finding, new ways to step up. And that's been a good thing to see for the softball team.
Oklahoma State, the 3-game set starts tonight, 6:30, Saturday at 2, and Sunday at 1. All games at Getterman Stadium. Hope everyone comes out. Should be some good weather. If you're not able to make it out, you can watch all those games on Big 12 now on ESPN+. That'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Jerry Hill, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Friday, and Sic 'em Bears.
Bears.